Hello, ladies. Thank you so much for watching this recording back. And I'm so sorry that we couldn't get together in person last night. Hopefully this recording works out and the internet's playing the game today. But I'm going to, go through the recipes that I was going to make last night anyway. And I thought you would all benefit from just watching this back. It'll be a lot quicker session, hopefully, as well. So normally how these work, I'm sure a few of you, as you are already owners, have been to one of these before, but normally how they work is we're here to show you the Thermomix, give you all the tips and the inside information. Being a consultant means we've got all the expert tips, and make sure that you're learning and utilising the Thermomix properly. But also, we always invite on new people to explore the Thermomix as an option for their own home. So we like to obviously introduce people to its solution to help solve your problems. So what I first and foremost would love to know and love for you guys to think about, obviously, because I can't get a response, is what is the biggest struggle for you at the moment with preparing food? Do you enjoy being in the kitchen? Do you hate thinking of what to make? I will be getting in contact with you guys after I've sent this out, just to follow up and get any feedback and to find out what you like to see with these sessions, because we're constantly adapting them and changing them. So without ado, I will get it on the road. But at the end of this, normally I go through some of our offers, our current offers and payment plans and everything as well. So the beauty of this is if it doesn't apply to you, you can skip forward through it, or you can finish the recording there as well. But some exciting things at the moment this time of year. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually make our pizza dough first. I'm going to head to our week. Now, I tried to angle the Thermomix so you guys can see the screen. This time of day is difficult with the lighting as it is. So hopefully you guys can see. If not, I will explain what I'm doing. But with my week, I've actually got a little calendar icon here as well, because last night obviously has been and gone. So I just want to point out to you guys that you can touch the little calendar icon and it'll bring up a different format of your weekly planned dishes. So if you, for whatever reason, plan a dish for a Tuesday and then you make it on the Wednesday, you can actually go back and find it. So you can just scroll across here, you can see the things that I'd planned for the last couple of days. I'm going to hit pizza dough. I'm going to open that up. You see a picture of it, a beautiful picture. If you scroll down with the recipe, and I'm sure the users that already have a 6 will know this, but if you don't, this is a great little insight. So scrolling down, seeing your ingredients list and just getting everything out from the get-go so that you're not having to go back and forth from the fridge and pantry is the way to utilise and save as much time with your Thermomix, because you're putting everything in and walking away and letting your Thermomix do its thing. So all of your ingredients, utensils that you might need. And if you go right down, you'll see tips. So this is a really big one for users. With our cookie recipes, they are a guide. They're not set in stone. You can adjust them to your family's liking, take out a vegetable you don't like, increase the sugar content, decrease the salt content, whatever you like. So there's always tips on how to, maybe make something vegetarian, or how to add meat to something, or, change up the flavors. So always keep an eye out for those, okay? Now I'm going to hit start and get on with it. So I'd love you guys to think about what it would be like for you to be making your own breads, your own doughs, your own pizza doughs. A pizza base at the supermarket is so costly. And yeah, definitely this saves you a lot of money if you're doing it yourself. Now I need some lukewarm water. So I'm actually going to get a little bit from the kettle that was just boiled, and do the rest from my little water jug here. Now this is normally not the recipe that I make. I actually do the pizza bianca recipe for everything pretty much, because it's like a pizza focaccia, pizza base, pizza dough, you can use that for everything. I've actually even used the pizza bianca to make scrolls for the kids, roll out and make scrolls. So if that's something that you're interested in seeing how to do, make your own scrolls, again, saves so much money, then definitely get in touch with me. All right, so obviously our yeast, now this yeast, even if it's in this canister like this from the supermarket, make sure you're still keeping it in the fridge or the freezer just to preserve it. because it will dry off and go kind of not bad, but won't be active or alive anymore. And the other tip is when you are putting your yeast into the bowl, make sure it's sitting in the liquid because it's about to get activated. So if it's not in that liquid and it's not being brought to temperature, it's not going to get active and have a really nice, dough for you. Our lid goes on and the thermi is going to heat and do its thing. Now, what this recipe actually asks us to do is put lukewarm water in, but I'm actually going to increase this temperature here to 37 degrees, okay? So to that perfect temperature for yeast and for breads to do their thing. So it's going to go for about a minute. Now, keep an eye on your screen because it always tells you, the Thermomix is quite smart, it always tells you what temperature it's at. So when it gets to the right temperature, you'll see that in just above the middle dial where you've selected the temp, you'll see what number it's at. So if it's at temperature sooner than you have set the time for, then just hit the dial in. It cuts out things wherever it's at. So that applies as well if you ever notice that your Thermomix is boiling over. The Thermomix has like max fill lines with all of our accessories, which I can go through a little bit for you guys now. So it's got max fill lines with everything so that you don't overboil things or have any kind of accidents like that. So they're just kind of a safety thing there. There are little ways to get around it at times, which I can show you. So if you would like to kind of find out how to maximize using your Thermomix and make as much food as possible, there's lots of little tricks and things that we do. And one of those is actually called layered cooking. So it is where we use a bowl, a steaming basket, a aroma all at the same time and make bulk food while saving energy because there's only one machine heating up and using energy and you're cooking a whole bunch of stuff at once. So yeah, that's nice and heat it up. Now what you'll feel the bowl will heat up obviously and get nice and warm, your stainless steel bowl. And the really cool thing is these actually turn red when it hits to about 55 degrees. So that 55, 60 degree mark is when you want to tell little people that it's getting hot and not to touch this. So just a nice little friendly reminder because we don't have flames with the Thermomix. I've got the kids sitting down watching TV as well, just so obviously, so if there's interruptions. All right, so scales automatically come up with your Thermomix. So you don't need any like little electronic scales. You don't even need to use measuring cups. This is purely just because it's easy to scoop out. But you're just pouring straight in, making sure it's tared and getting the benefit of less cleanup, saving you that time in the kitchen and cleaning up multiple bowls and dishes when you're preparing a meal. And again, like I said, it's a guide. So if you go slightly over or under, like I went a tiny bit over with the water. So I've gone a little bit over with the flour and just balance that out. If you notice that your dough is a little bit too dry, add a little bit more liquid. If it's a bit too wet, add a little bit more flour. Pretty simple stuff with the Thermi. You cannot go wrong really. It's just to your preference, like I said. Bit of oil again measured in, and some salt. This calls for a teaspoon. Now salt actually deactivates yeast, so if you get your salt directly in contact with it, then you're not going to have nice, fluffy, beautiful dough. So just try and keep them separate, which is why they're going on. The salt's going on top of the flour. And then we're doing our kneading mode. So I'm going to bring you guys over slightly. Hopefully you can see that's that little icon. That little wheat icon is our dough mode. So what that's doing, and you can hear it stop starting, is it's actually stretching the dough one way, pulling it one way, stopping, and then reversing its direction and stretching it the other way. So the Thermomix is quite smart in that it can go two directions. One side of the blade is blunt, one side is sharp. So yeah, it's really perfect to know that you can chop and do all of your sharp kind of basic blending functions, but you can also reverse the blade of the Thermomix and do things like minestrone soup and chunky, stewed things. Yeah, It's really handy. So a couple of other things that I actually use the reverse blade for is shredding chicken. So steaming some chicken with the thermi, taking it out, chucking it straight in, depending on how big the breast size is. Sometimes I cut it in half, but chucking it straight in on reverse, speed 5, will shred chicken perfectly for sandwiches and salads and whatnot. And then also doing like cauliflower rice and even broccoli rice and stuff for the kids, like just an alternative type rice if you're trying to be healthier. It's my 2 favourite things. So you guys will notice it's doing a little bit of a jiggle. That's quite normal. If you are like me and you are using a slide board, which I can talk about a little bit, you need to keep an eye on your Thermomix. So I'm going to give you a couple of tips when this stops, so I'm not talking about it. Cool. So 2 minutes kneading time with the Thermomix is equivalent to like 15 minutes by hand. So it's doing a really effective, amazing job at stretching that dough and really working in that gluten. So with the knead mode, like I said, you don't want to walk away and leave it unattended. This is a piece of Perspex. It's called a slide board, which you can find online. Not recommended by Thermomix and Bulwark at all, obviously, because it means your Thermomix could quite easily slide off the bench. So use at your own risk. As a consultant, we're not able to recommend that to you, but for me, pushing it back, I've got quite a deep bench, pushing it back and forth and keeping it out of the way from the kids is ideal. So I do have it on here. But my little tip is, if you can see the cord at the back there, always have that when you're actually cooking, have it pushed in and retracted so it's nice and taut, because any loose power cord is going to affect your scales. I'm going to throw them out a little bit, which you can test yourself. If you just grab a hold of the cord and wiggle it while the scales are up, you'll see that change happening. So yeah, just make sure that you've got it definitely on 0 and on the accurate 0, with nothing touching the side of your Thermomix when you do go to cook. Now, this is one of our beautiful host rewards. This and a oven mat. They're 2 silicone mats that can withstand really high temperatures. This one's actually called the bread mat though, so it's perfect for your dough. And if you're trying to get dough out of the bowl, the trick is to just turn the base. Turn the little blade base right in the middle there, and it should just pop out. If you've got your dough consistency right, you will pretty much not have any mess to clean up here as well. But as you probably would know if you've made, doughs and things before and breads before, is you can just grab a piece and just get the last little bits off. It's quite a good consistency that it will stick to itself. So just use that to kind of clean up any last bits, and then you don't have to really wash your bowl. So mine's pretty well shiny clean, ready to go for the next thing. So what I need to do for this is just roll it in a ball, and this bread mat, you can actually prove your bread in. So you place a Glad wrap and having too much waste there, you're just neatly kind of rolling it up in this bread mat. And what I often do, especially on a colder day, is I will let this prove in one of our thermo servers. So this is the white thermo server, but we have several other sizes and shapes that are exclusive as a host reward. And these are a double wall insulated container that keep your food hot for up to 3 hours. So if you're dishing up dinner at like 3 p.m, it's still going to be ready to eat at 6 o'clock. So incredible life-saving, time-saving little tool for families. And I often put dough in there. So I might pour a little bit of boiling water in there just to heat it up like you would a thermos, tip it out, and then pop that in. So I'm just going to pop it aside in this for a moment today and continue on. Garbage man always gives our kids a tooth. And yes, just until that doubles in size. So just make sure that when you do wrap in one of those silicone mats that you don't wrap it too tight, that you allow for it to rise. So we're done with that. I'm going to open up my next recipe and get a move on. Just make sure there's no dough hiding underneath the blades there. Good. So another really good way as well, if you do get dough, sort of a bit of dough stuck around your blades, is to use turbo mode. Turbo is located on our function screen, so I'll show you after this how to open that up. but use turbo once or twice and it will go full speed and flick all of that dough off the blade, and you don't have to really fiddle around trying to get the dough around the blades because the blade is quite sharp. So just be careful. Always be careful with it. All right. Today, last night, we were going to be cooking creamy tomato and salami fettuccine, and I'm excited because this is actually the first time I've made this recipe. We're dairy and gluten-free in this household, and I typically just don't eat pasta much. Gluten-free pasta is not really the same, but I am making this for the kids, and they do have sometimes a little bit of hard cheese like Parmesan, so I'm going to let them have this but substitute a few ingredients today. So if you do make this and you're watching what I do, obviously I'll just let you know the ingredient that it actually says to do, but it's a great reminder that all of the recipes, things can be substituted really, really easily, and it still works out. So if you do have anyone in the family with allergies or intolerances, yeah, excuse me, this works fine when you do substitute things. All right. Okay, so what I'm about to do is mill up some cheese. Now, this is a really, really important thing for me that I love to share, because cheese, one, costs a fortune when you buy it already shredded and milled. So buying blocks, say, and shredding and grating it yourself saves you so much money. But also, a lot of shredded cheeses that you buy commercially from the supermarket actually have what's called anti-caking agent in them, which is a banned substance for children, for babies. So it's not a substance that we would really want to be eating regularly. And if you can grate your own easily in a Thermomix, then why not do it? Okay. So this is going to be cutting me out because it's quite loud. So it's only 10 seconds. Now, 5 seconds in from there, you guys wouldn't have heard it because Zoom normally cuts out loud quizzes, but about 5 seconds in, I could hear the change in that consistency of the cheese inside the bowl. So getting used to listening to how your Thermomix sounds when something is done is a really, really good skill to hone in, because you'll know how to manually do things really, really quickly and easily. So I've got milled Parmesan. I'll pour into a bowl there. That is done. And like I said, 5 seconds to grate that up. You don't have to stand there. Like, how would it feel for you? You don't have to stand there grating vegetables and cheese out with your hand like held grater anymore. Yeah, it's one of the things that still really excites me so much, that and cutting up onions and garlic. It's just one of my most favorite things. Hopefully we don't have to, sometimes it asks you to clean and dry a mixing bowl. To be honest, you learn recipes where it actually isn't needed, and you'll get the hang of this. You know when it's about to do a cooking step or not, and you can check the recipe steps to do that. I think it is, from memory, going to saute some onion. So it is a good idea to not have too much dairy or cheese left in the bowl if you are about to saute, because the TM6 has a high temperature mode, so it gets to above 160 degrees and really browns things. So you don't want to get anything stuck on your bowl. I'm just going to now, I actually do have a second bowl sitting right here too, but I am going to show you guys how to do some sorbet, because that was definitely one of the requested things for Brie. So I'm going to just leave that to do our sorbet. All right, 1/2 of a brown onion, quite a big one. It does tell you approximate weight. So if you're in a recipe like this, right next to the green button at the top, there is 3 little dots, and you can bring up the scales there and actually just check how much it is that you're throwing in if you're doing like one whole onion. And that onion was 99 grams, so just slightly over. Like I said, doesn't matter at all. It's called for 1 garlic clove. I've got like 3 little ones, so they're all going in. And some parsley, which actually is in the fridge. Hang on one tick. Sorry, I had to go on a bit of a search for some because it wasn't where I thought it would be. All right, so that's all going in, and it's about to chop. So for me, I often like to chop onion and garlic and stuff on speed 7. Personal preference, it chops it that little bit finer, which I like, but You can reduce it back if you're going for a more chunky onion. So 3 seconds. Again, you can hear that change there. That last second, it's virtually really not doing anything, but just getting the last little dregs. So that's perfectly chopped up onion there, onion and garlic. Getting my spatula out. So all of the accessories you see behind the thermomix here are included when you purchase a thermomix, obviously. But often with these sessions, we teach you how to utilize them properly as well. Because quite often when we first start with a thermomix, we might not use, especially the aroma sitting over here. So this guy is definitely one that people start off not utilizing as much because there is so much you can do just in the bowl. So yeah, definitely reach out to a consultant if you need to get some help with using your Verona. All right, I've got half a red capsicum. I feel like I'm going to sneeze again. I can feel it coming on. I feel if I was pulling a funny face. That's why. All right, half a red capsicum in, and then also some zucchini. So the scales have also come up. It says about 100 grams. If you go under, that's totally fine too. So I've gone over. I've gone about 30 grams over, which is I'm happy with. Extra veg for the kids. All right, I'm just going to just chop that up for us. 5 seconds for this one. Sorry, speed 5 for that one. I'll show you how it worked out. You saw the chunks I was throwing in. So nicely grated, chopped up veggies there. So awesome to do kitty veg with. Again, I'm just going to scrape that down. Now, my little technique with using your spatula that you get included, it's like my favorite thing actually because it used to be rock hard and you just couldn't really work it around the bowl very easily. So they made it a little bit more malleable, but the key with it is to always go around your bowl in a clockwise direction against the blunt side of the blade. Because if you're going to go backwards and forwards, you're going to hit that sharp edge of your blade and nick your spatula, and you're not going to get the wear and the life to come out of it. So just a good idea to go clockwise all the time. And we're going to put a little bit more oil in again. Yep. Again, the oils, it's always preference. Like you don't have to put the full amount that it is saying. It is recommended if you're doing high temperature mode to do that, but you don't have to. With these other recipes. I don't believe this recipe uses high temperature mode, but I just want to point out this is the splash guard that comes with the 6. So previous models never had this, and this is purely to use with the high temperature modes. So you access them through guided recipes. They're not just a manual function that you can just go and use yourself, because we want to preserve the life of your bowl and make sure that people aren't misusing it and not burning their bowl. So this goes on top instead of the measuring cup and locks into place with our arms, mechanical arms. And so it's super safe, and it's covering the middle where there would be any oil splatter. So you're not having to worry about that. And what I love is there's no like oil splatter or splashbacks, and you don't have to clean up. I've never used my stovetop anymore because I hate cleaning it. But whilst it does get some great flavors and things, I've now got my Thermomix to be able to tackle all of that browning and sauteing and cooking bacon and meat and stuff like that, so that I don't really need to use my stovetop for a lot anymore. It's just a rare bacon and eggs maybe morning if the barbecue's not going. So yeah, that's sauteing. So have a little bit of a think about how you're currently cooking. Are you utilizing sauteing things to bring out flavor in food? I know we've been through like obviously winter and making soups and things, but is that something that you were doing then, like during winter with your soups? How are you currently cooking, and are you doing much on the stove top? Still, even if you own a Thermomix, are you still doing a lot on the stove top? Because that's an area that we can help you boost your knowledge and get the most out of your Thermomix. We get a few extra tips from a consultant like me. So yeah, like I mentioned before, with our thermo service, which the dough is starting to puff up, but these are available just by hosting a session like this one. So if you invite 2 people along to come and check out the Thermomix or come and learn a little bit more about the Thermomix, then you have access to over 50% off a couple of our items, our exclusive items. So there's 4 different thermo servers, and there's the bread duo mats, but there's also at the moment this wonderful little contraption you would have seen maybe in the corner. So this is the mini vac. This is the Woolworth mini vac. So this is made by the same company that makes the Thermomix. So it's a German engineered product. Really sleek and beautiful design, but really, really efficient and effective, high-powered little dustbuster. Really, everyone probably remembers the dustbusters. So ideal for just whipping around the kitchen or whipping around your house with little messes and spills. And that's currently available until the 20th of December as a host reward. And just by hosting, you get $150 off that. And if you somehow you've got a guest that comes along and decides to purchase a Thermomix and falls in love with it, and you get $250 off. So an awesome, handy little home tool. And I know some people will be thinking, well, what's that got to do with cooking? But you'll be surprised. This is kept in my kitchen because it cleans up so much stuff in here. I'll show you it right here. So that's gone nice and kind of translucent. It's definitely kind of pushed through there. But always double checking with recipes as well, guys. So even though these are a guide, sometimes we add, really cold tap water instead of like water that maybe they've used that's lukewarm, and that can change your cooking time. So especially with meats and proteins, just triple check that things are cooked properly. Now I need some Roma tomatoes. So these are just tomatoes that I had chopped up left over from dinner. So I'm going to chuck those little bits in, and then a few of these ones. Need 400. So it just said quartered. You don't have to chop things precisely, and I'm going to use the last bit of it. Okay, a little bit of water. Now I'm going to add slightly less water here. I'm going to go about 220 because I can always add a bit more in again, but I'm using coconut cream, which is a bit more liquidy than just like a cooking cream, a normal dairy cream. So I might even just go to about 240. I've gone slightly over, but it doesn't matter. So just go to there just so I know that it's not going to be too liquidy at the end, because there's nothing worse than like trying to take it back and thicken it. Although, speaking of, the Thermomix has a thicken mode. So it's perfect to just set on and like walk away and make gravies and sauces and do the thickening without having to stand at the stove and stir. Who wouldn't love more time like that and not to have to stand at the stove? All right, I've got my coconut cream. There we go. Bang on. And then a bit of vegetable stock. So this stock is recommended. It's like one of the first things that you'll make in your Thermomix. And if you haven't already made it and you've got a Thermomix, get onto it. It is highly recommended when you first purchase, because it's in so much stuff, but also it is so much better for you, saves you so much money than buying liquid stocks and stuff at the supermarket. And it takes minutes to just whip up. It's just literally chuck it all in, chop it up, set it to cook and walk away, and then come back and blend it. It is the quickest and easiest thing. So if you would like to make this with a consultant and book in a cooking experience, then please do. If you need a little bit of support and encouragement with that, there's a few condiments and things that we make and we highly recommend, because they just will change your life, really. So I'm going to use this spoon because it's already a bit dirty. And I actually, when I make my veggie stock, just so you guys know, I actually reduce the salt content a bit so I can use more of my stock and get all those herbs and those flavors and not have to worry about it being too salty for the kids or anything like that. So I normally like almost double the amount that a recipe said to put in, because I've minimized my salt content so much. So it's something that you can do if you're wary of salt. Okay. Alrighty, the lid's going on. And we're going to cook for about 10 minutes. So while that's cooking, I'm going to share my screen on here with you and hopefully this works for the recording. And I'm going to bring up Cookie Dough. So I'm just going to show you what that recipe platform looks like a little bit for those of you watching that don't have it. And there we go. And obviously for those of you features that maybe you haven't explored yet. So I just want to share the main screen first. And obviously it's personalized. So you can input what you currently like to eat and how you like to eat and things like that so that you can get recommended dishes. You can see mine there. I've selected we're veggie lovers. So I always try and get as much veggie in as I can. And even with recipes like this, quite often I will like add in extra veggies. Like I'm doing mayonnaise recipe, I'll add in extra veggies that I need to use up and things like that. So if you're needing help with adding in things, then please reach out to me. And I'm also going to send you in the email my Instagram and Facebook information so that you can jump on and follow me, because I share lots of tips and stuff about what I'm doing on there. So yeah, please give me a follow because that really supports my business. I would love that. But yeah, so we've got a few things here. Now, if you scroll down, you can find the latest recipes. So every month there is new cookbooks and things released. So you always are getting access to brand new recipes with your subscription. And you get 6 months subscription free with your Thermomix purchase. So it's basically like a gift to help you utilize your Thermomix and just learn how to use it properly. It's a nice little training tool. My daughter's trying to find a helmet, so going for but yeah, scrolling down, we have a brand new Cookie Dough 3.0 coming on the 29th of November, which means that you can put your own created recipes on the Thermomix. So things that you just like whip up at home on the stove that we can transform to a Thermomix recipe, or you know, grandma's recipe that you've always made yourself that you can then just program into your Thermomix and just step through really, really quickly and easily. We've got Most Cooked, which leading up to Christmas. There's some nice little shortbread there. And we also have a really exciting new accessory. So this hasn't arrived with me yet, but it is somewhat like this guy. So this is a blade cover, and that sits on top of your blades so that you can cook chunky like steak or salmon, excuse me, and making sure that it's not like churning that up. So it's sitting off the blades and just cooking or slow cooking beautifully. Typically used for a lot of our slow cooking recipes so that they don't crumble apart in those hours of cooking. But this is the blade cover, but also a peeler. So I'm going to quickly just jump into that and show you guys that at the moment because it's pretty exciting. I'll play this little video for you. Hopefully.
Would you like your Thermomix to help you even more in the kitchen? Discover the next generation of the Thermomix.
Oh, it might not load. We'll have to pause it and let it. Whoops. Try again. Oh, that's annoying.
Would you like your Thermomix to help you even more in the kitchen? Discover the next generation of the Thermomix blade cover, the Thermomix blade cover and peeler. This newly redesigned accessory brings additional convenience to your cooking. Just place the Thermomix blade cover and peeler over the mixing knife to safeguard your ingredients during sous vide or slow cooking. Now, the new stainless steel Thermomix blade cover and peeler can also clean, scrub, or peel for you. At the touch of a button, reverse the rotation and start rubbing the potato skins, avoiding the fuss and mess in the kitchen. Thermomix blade cover and peeler is convenient, effective, significant.
Well, you get the gist of that there. It's pretty much done, but it's super exciting for me because, yeah, peeling things, this is the bane. I hate using peelers. Most peelers I find I end up nicking myself, and I've got a really sharp one from Thermomix that's incredible, but I still manage to kind of get my fingers with. So I'm so excited for that. You can peel all sorts of different root vegetables like beetroots and things saves so much time. And I love that it also saves some of the vegetable. Like it only really just rubs the skin layer off rather than taking huge chunks when you're peeling. So super exciting to look out for that. And then, yeah, Veggie Lover, it's got some more suggestions there, but you can kind of scroll through here and really quickly find some inspiration to what to cook. Festive, obviously, stuff going on. And then the collection. So you can go in here and actually browse through the actual cookbooks. And sometimes you might want to pick a recipe based on the cover of a cookbook. I don't know about you guys. Definitely sometimes I'm enticed by some pictures. So just going into one of these, you could maybe even want to look for a Italian recipe, for instance, and you might come up with a couple of Italian cookbooks. I know there is a lot more than there. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my filters. So this is a common mistake that most new customers make, is we actually have access to every single country that has Thermomix and Cookie Dough. Obviously, some of them don't speak English, the rest are in English, but there are quite a few that are. So what you want to do is you want to come down and you want to select US and the UK and also Canada normally too, but Canada's not on there for some reason today. That's very strange. But if you've got Canada on your side, then make sure that you do that. Now, what you can do is you can actually select a country like Italy as well, and actually just use there's an app you can get on your phone that basically reads text and converts it, translates it. That's the word I'm looking for. So you really aren't limited. You can make a traditional Chinese recipe. You can make pretty much anything if you really want to get that excitement, that creativity back in your life when you've got a rainy day or a nice weekend. So yeah, you could pick a recipe like this. Now I want to come back to filters for a moment though, because I want to make sure that you guys are utilizing this to help you save time. There's nothing worse than having to just scroll through tons and tons of recipes trying to think about what you want to make. So make life a little bit easier. Now right now I've only got 10 results there. If I come across here and I choose recipes, okay, so we've got 410 recipes that are an Italian style dish, okay? You might be like, yeah, that's still 400 things I have to scroll through. I just want to knock it down a little bit more. Let's actually pick a recipe that is a main dish with some meat in it, okay? That's what I'm looking for. That's brought my results down to 45. You can even take it a little bit further if you want to knock it down even more and see if there's any that are actually going to be super quick. I want a recipe that's done in half an hour. Yeah, okay, let's start with that. And once I've picked a recipe from there, if there's none there that I like, and then I'm going to increase maybe that total time slightly, or increase somewhat one of the other filters that you've used, because there is a ton here to utilize, and make sure you use them to get the most out of it, using the portions if you know you've got to cook something. And that one's a tricky one because quite often a recipe for 2 people can be doubled easily in the Thermomix. So you could still get at least 4 servings from one recipe. So don't necessarily not look at those servings of 2 and whatnot, because they could be beautiful recipes that you'll really enjoy, but you're missing out on because you think they're not going to feed the family. So yeah, we can just show results, go through here, and obviously those of you that have already been doing it, you understand how to do this. But 3 dots here give you a few options. So you can hit cook today. You can add it to a collection. So you can have lists you can have cuisines like this, like Italy and Chinese and whatever you like to cook at home. You can have chicken, vegetarian, fish, things like that. Whatever is going to work for you in terms of finding these recipes easily and making them easy to come back to, especially if you love them. And I would love to mention as well, if you love a recipe, this ratings guide is all for you guys, for customers. So if you loved a recipe, make it easier to find, make it easier for other people to find and make by giving it a rating. And yeah, just putting that in there as well, and saving it so that you can come back and find it again, because those ratings are there for all of us, those customers, and there are recipes without any ratings at all. I know myself, I'm personally slack sometimes at remembering to rate a recipe that I really love. So if you get in the hang of it early on, you have that skill. But yeah, you can add it to your shopping list. Okay, let's do that. And I want to show you, because some people haven't utilized the shopping with Thermomix or with Cookie and it's a game changer. So if you come across, I like to click by recipe because I can see what I've then actually added. Now you can see that I have this in here to make that. And oops, go back to my week. Yeah, so you can see that I had that in there, and I've made, obviously it's just finished behind me. You can probably hear the beeping, but I've also made this spiced beef casserole for my baby girl. So from here, all you need to be doing is clicking the basic ingredients that you've already got in your cupboard. You know, you've got dried pasta, you've got lemons, maybe you've got a lemon tree, whatever, okay? And just selecting the items that you don't have to order, adding in any extra things, like I've got chia seeds, nuts, butter, milk, whatever you need in your fridge or pantry. And then you basically just come across here the order ingredients, and we order directly through Woolworths. Down here where I am, we've got click and collect. So it saves you time and walking the aisles trying to find the ingredient that you're looking for. The skilled Woolworths shoppers, they pick fresh ingredients for you, pack it up for you, and all you have to do is arrive and grab your groceries. And you're not enticed by things that are on specials, or you're not enticed by going down that confectionery aisle. So for me, it's a game changer, especially with little kids that I hate dragging around the supermarket. All right, we have got, this is where we're at. It's got this delicious looking sauce. I don't want to pour it on the bench, so I won't. I will bring you guys over. That's where we're at. Okay, you can see the steam coming off. It smells delicious. Speaking of, my little baby girl's awake. I can hear her now, chatting away now. I'll have to maybe go get her in a moment if she starts crying. Now, you want to add fettuccine broken into halves, okay? So this is a 350 gram, and this is gluten-free, which typically cooks a bit faster too. So I'm going to, maybe adjust my times with this, like I said. So I'll just show you how that works. Everything is adjustable. I wasn't sure I was going to be able to break this up. There we go. Okay. So we've got 120. All of that in. Cool. So I think that's probably going to be enough. Just over 250. I might even, that's enough for like another serve. So I might even just leave that actually and pop it in like that. So that's all popped in like there. Now, if you haven't made boiled pasta in the Thermomix, make sure you do pasta in it, especially spaghetti. It's like a magic trick. It looks amazing. Definitely worth a try. And then some salami. I didn't actually weigh this. This is just what we had left over in the fridge a little bit too for my son's birthday. So there's about 40 grams in it. I might grab the rest of it because there is actually a bit more. And we just need to thinly slice some of that. I should have weighed it, but actually normally I'm quite good. After being a Thermomix user for years and years, I'm normally pretty good at like measuring by grams and no longer with measurements like cups and anything anymore. I'm terrible at that these days. But no, I've missed the mark with this one. Salami is not something we eat much of. So just chucking a bit more of that in. And off we go. So this is one of my kitchen toolkit knives from Thermomix that you can earn as a consultant. It's like the best knife set. You know, you've got high-end kitchen scissors, there's like a scoop, there's a whole heap of fun stuff that you can get. Being a consultant, we get lots of incentives and freebies. It's pretty good gig. So I can chat a little bit about that and how you can earn this up with Thermomix at the end for those that are watching that are interested. So I'm just going to mix this. I should do it without the lid on, to be honest. Mix it through a little bit so that it's just being submerged in the sauce is what we're after with the pasta. Okay. I'm excited to try this. It's funny, even as a consultant and having owned a Thermomix for like pretty much 8 years, There's still so much I haven't tried. You just cannot get through the recipes on Cookie Do. So it's exciting that you never really eat the same things. We're never ever stuck eating dull with like the same weekly, fortnightly rotation in this household because it's so easy to mix it up and not fall back into those patterns. So if that's you and you're sick of eating the same things all the time or having to think of things, then please book a session, a meal planning or Cookie Do session with me. I am just going to check if this lid was meant to be on. I feel like it wasn't. That must have been. That's right. So this is actually on that reverse feed. So while that does its thing, I'm just going to go back to that main screen. I'm going to adjust the time, and just take it down an extra minute, maybe even a minute and a half. Because like I said, that gluten-free pasta can cook quite quickly and then it goes to kind of mush, which isn't nice. So hopefully it works out for you guys to see that. So in like 4 minutes, what I'm going to do is just talk to you guys a little bit about those payment options and things, and just give you a bit of an insight as to what to expect. So when you purchase your Thermomix, some of you are owners, and I believe some of you might be watching this and maybe you didn't purchase from me. And so every journey with different consultants is different slightly, but I want you to know what you've got on offer. So when you purchase a Thermomix, you get a complimentary Easy Essentials class invitation. So they run monthly in our branch, and they are just an awesome little basics, lots of tips and tricks, making your own butter, making your own mayo, quick, easy salads, quick, easy breads and buttermilk and whatnot, going over some of those really basic things, which some of us don't try straight away. Like some of us don't try making your own butter. Like you might not have even thought you could do that. So yeah, get access to that. But you also get obviously the support of a Thermomix consultant. So when you pay for your Thermomix, you're paying for the support and that skill delivery from a consultant. And it is highly recommended that you utilize that person because you can speed up your learning and your knowledge with the Thermomix so much quicker. And there's a lot of stuff that we know because we have the resources and access to that you might not be able to find out yourself. So keeping in touch with the consultant is a great way to make sure you're utilizing your investment and getting the most from it. And that's what we're here for. So we have several post-purchase sessions that we do. We do a first cook celebration with you. And then we do either a meal planning, Cookie Do kind of session with you. But also we've got a recipe conversion session that we can do with you too, just depending on your skills and where you're at and what you're needing. So they're all kind of mix and match depending on the moment. But we usually check in, obviously, as soon as we can once it arrives in your house and you've unpacked it onto your bench. We give you that setup and those safety and extra tips and skills, including, not dragging your Thermomix. So lifting it correctly and moving it correctly, cleaning it properly, and just things to be aware of, taking the dial off, just things that you don't get in your manual that having a consultant is really beneficial for. So yeah, we do that. We check in usually about the 1 month mark and the 2 month mark as well, and just have little celebrations of those milestones with you in being a Thermomix owner. So that's what you can expect. You'll also get invited to your branch's cooking classes and workshops that they're having, which there has been plenty of those online and virtually through COVID. We've really pivoted and had to do a lot of those, but hopefully there'll be some back in person really, really soon as well, because if you get the chance to go to a cooking class in person, make sure that you go. They are phenomenal. You learn so much. The food is fantastic. It's a great way to kind of connect with other Thermi owners and just have a nice little night out. So yeah, that's on offer. But yeah, in terms of purchasing your Thermomix and getting one on your bench yourself, there are a lot of different ways now with Thermomix. Grace and Bianca, our founders, are all about getting a Thermomix on every single bench. And we have reached about 2% of the market in Australia. There are so many homes that don't have one. And, I'm really, really passionate personally about supporting other mums. I'm a mum of 3. I would definitely struggle getting food on the table and making snacks out of Thermomix. I am passionate about reducing waste and stuff like that, and so not having too much plastic packaging, but also with my own health issues, as I've got an autoimmune disease and some gut health stuff. I'm really conscious of what goes into my kids' diet and their tummies, because they're very prone to having the same things as me. Yeah, they've got that from me, my bad genes. But yeah, so I'm very, very passionate about making stuff from scratch and being aware of the preservatives and additives and sugar content and stuff that's going in their mouths. And for me, it would not be possible to make stuff like that and have the time to do that as a mum of 3 with 3 under 5, so no one at school yet, without a Thermomix. So super passionate, and if there's something that you are interested in learning a little bit more about making more things from scratch and, you know, really changing up your diet, then please reach out, because like I said, I'm so passionate about sharing my knowledge with people. But yeah, I'm excited. I'm going to check that this pasta's done. So the beauty of a thermoserver also, which I think I've got my other large one here. I'm actually going to use the white one because my friends, I'll show you, it's expanded massively. It's nice and tight and puffed up in there. I don't know if you can see the difference. Quite, yeah. So I'm just going to even leave the Parmesan separate and just put that on for the kids when they're ready to eat. Get all of this out. Like I said, gluten-free pasta can be a bit of a pain to cook with sometimes, compared to normal pasta, but this looks like it's done a pretty good job. There's a few little clumps like where it's stuck together, because that's what gluten-free pasta does. It's just so, yeah, sticky, claggy, you know, but not really as many as I thought there might be. So that's exciting. That's it. Cooked. Now, if it's slightly a bit firm still and not al dente, it actually continues to cook in a thermoserver. You can make cook pasta and rice in a thermoserver by just pouring boiling water in there, and it will stay at that 100 degrees and continue to cook, which is incredible. So saving energy if you're camping, cooking in your thermoserver, taking it to keep pancakes and barbecue foods and stuff hot. It's just incredible. You really need to get your hands on one of these if you don't have one. So that's in there, and I'm pretty much done. I'm going to make the fettuccine, but while I'm bringing up that recipe, I will just continue to mention. So purchasing, we have now half to pay. We currently have zip money with 36 months interest free until the 2nd of December. We've had an early release of our December offer too, because as I believe, maybe we still have a few items of our second bowl offer this morning still, but it's literally a matter of hours for that one to run out. So we have a second bowl offer for $29, which has been an incredible gift from Grace and Bianca, our founders. So they're normally $3.75, and a lot of customers have been able to secure themselves a second bowl to just go from recipes really quickly like that and make bulk food in a short amount of time. It's a game changer having a second bowl. So yeah, that's been pretty amazing. Paired with our 36 months interest free, our second bowl included is under $17 a week to pay off the Thermomix. So we've got Afterpay, we've got Zip Money and Zip Pay, which are two different things. Zip Pay is just $1,000 line of credit, and we've also got our Earn program. So this is my most favorite. Obviously, I'm a team leader for a group of 11 girls here in Gippsland, and a lot of them have been able to get themselves a Thermomix on their bench by joining our team and doing our 60-day program. And most of them have then fallen in love with what we do and teaching people about Thermomix and being passionate about helping others, that they've decided to stay on, which is really exciting. So to learn a little bit more about the Earn program and what that entails and how you can get yourself a Thermomix for free, then it is recommended reach out to myself and just let me know as well. But jumping on one of our info sessions, I've included a link for that in the email that I've sent this out to you guys in. And yeah, joining into that 15-minute session and just learning the ins and outs and commission that we get paid, the incentives and things that we get as well on top of that, and just what's entailed in terms of actually earning your Thermomix yourself. just so that you know what's on offer and the different options that you've got at your fingertips. All right, I'm going to make this fruity green. Again, this is a dry bowl, and we're going to mill some sugar. So I'm going to put in about 40, just over 40 grams. It calls for 80, but again, I just don't think it needs it most of the time with kids, which is who's going to get this. So milling is usually speed 9 or 10 with 30. You can maybe just see a cup of sugar. Maybe not. It's hard to see with my white splashback. That we've just made icing sugar. So all you ever need is, hopefully you can see against the lid there, all you ever need is raw sugar, and you can make your own caster sugar, icing sugar. It's phenomenal. This is like, I don't know, a science experiment. It's so fun. Always get a kick out of knowing that I can do that. So I'm just going to get my egg white and my frozen fruit out, and I'm going to show you how this sorbet works. So this is actually doing the guided recipe version. So I started following it, but what I might do is I actually might do it manually the old way. So this way it cooks the egg white, okay? So that you're not having raw egg, and some people don't feel comfortable eating that, which I totally understand. It's not a problem for me. I'm not pregnant. I'm not high risk at all. And we get our eggs from my family farm. So I'm going to skip straight ahead. I'm actually going to get out of that altogether and go to the manual screen. And I'm going to pour in some fruit. Now, this recipe makes a lot of sorbet, so about 600 grams of frozen fruit is a lot. It serves probably 8 people. I'm going to just use the last of this bag and some frozen strawberries as well. So mix and match. You know, I'd love for you guys to think of a flavor combo right now while you're watching that you would really love to try in a sorbet, and let me know. Let me know what you would do. I'm really vibing like passion fruit at the moment. I think I would really like to play with that. Maybe passion fruit and mango. I'd love to hear some fun combinations from you guys. Now I'm using, this is actually a silicone reusable Ziploc bag from our mix shop. So the mix shop has some incredible items, and when you connect with your consultant after your Thermomix is delivered, then you actually can get access to a 20% discount code for the mix shop. So leading up to Christmas, up until the 15th of December, if you want to secure them getting to you by Christmas time, but up until the 15th of December, grabbing some items from the mix shop as great little like extra sack fillers or gifts for family members and things. They've got some amazing things. They're aiming to be the #1 online homeware store in Australia. So it's like Kmart online. Definitely worth checking out. So I'm just going to chop this fruit now at speed 7 for a minute and listen. So about 6 or 7 seconds in, it was like you could hear how fine it had started to get, rather than the rattling around of like frozen, icy kind of items. So that's what's happened after 6 seconds. You can see it's just like a crumb. The problem is some people have a really, really powerful freezer. So if you put your butterfly whisk in at this sort of stage and it doesn't go round, just take it back out and blend it again for a little bit longer. That's my tip. Because you can see on the side here, or you probably can't see on the screen, but it gets quite frozen if you're doing this at home. The bowl is stainless steel, so it really like insulates and keeps it nice and cold. I'm just going to go a few more seconds. All right. Now I'm going to add my butterfly whisk in. And I'm going to whisk this up for about a minute. So our butterfly whisk is epic at whisking and aerating and fluffing things up. So if you're whipping cream, be super careful with this. That's my tip as new owners. I don't think I've met a customer that hasn't overwhipped cream. It is the most common thing. And even if I warn you, you may still do it because it's just surprisingly so quick. But even just batters and nice fluffy pancakes, anything like that, it is fantastic. So I'm even going to set the time I'm just, again, going to go to speed 4 because 3 or 4 is the max speed for the butterfly whisk. You don't want to go over speed 4. So remember that one. I've got it at speed 3. Doesn't really matter. It's going around and picking up all that frozen fruit that was stuck on the side, and I'm going to put my egg white in. You hear it slow down. I need my other spatula. Just the last bits of that in. So, I'm going to stop it for a moment. Like I said, it goes for about a minute, but when you have added less to the recipe, just make sure that you push it all back down because it can be lifted up. I'll show you where it's at so far, if you can see in that lighting. So it's starting to change colour. It's reacting with that egg white and that sugar. So you're essentially making like a meringue sorbet here. It's so fluffy and light and beautiful and perfect for some time. All right, so speed 3 or 4. Let it go around. Lift the camera over and look in, but it's going to be too dark for you to see. So my tip is just to keep an eye on it, and when you see it change into that light colour and it's more that creamier consistency, then it's good to go. You'll see it expand almost and like fill up the bowl. I'm happy with that. I'm going to show you guys where it's at. So from that dark kind of berry colour to that light, fluffy, there it is, awesome berry sorbet. So worth a try. Definitely, like I said, definitely a summer winner. And always just make what you need because it's so much better fresh without those like, you know, freezing extra additives, antifreeze and stuff. Then it's going to set quite hard and it's not as enjoyable, but you can see that beautiful, still firm enough to scoop. So I'm going to call my kids in to have this now, and I'm pretty much done chatting to you guys about everything. So the only thing that I didn't mention was our Easy 3 purchase offer option and our current December offer. So currently you can get a thermo server and our barbecue cookbook. So you not only get your basic cookbook with you when you purchase the Thermomix, you get that to go and try lots of recipes with. But if you love having a cookbook in person, you get a barbecue cookbook in our December offer as well. So a thermo server valued at $135 and a cookbook valued at $50 for free. So it's like $185 of value at the moment with our December offer, which is leading up to summer, like I said. So if I'm going to reach out to you guys just to get some feedback and stuff. So if you have any questions, then please just let me know. I'll put my you guys can contact me as well. But thank you so much for watching this little presentation. I hope you learn a thing or two, and I look forward to connecting with you guys in the future. Bye.